Jamie White, I love that you don't agree with the way that Maria and I see this case, and you think that she needs to be held accountable without question for her actions. Tell me, knowing what you know about this area, the jury pool, who's on this jury most likely, how do you think they've taken in all this evidence against Megan Imirowicz?
Well, I think they've probably, consistent with what we've already talked about, I think they're looking at this as a very young woman. There's a lot of empathy that I think they probably have for her, and I think the defense counsel read into this. And, they made the call that there was no need to move forward with any additional evidence, in particular, putting her on the stand. She has provided statements. We saw the social media clip in your first segment, and, she provided statements to the police, which have been published to the jury. So to Marie's point, the only, there's a very downside to putting her on the stand, and that would be that she's going to be subject to cross-examination, where she's going to have to explain why she said she threw bread on her dad as opposed to a powder initially, and that goes to the consciousness of guilt when you're providing inaccurate statements to the police when your father has been hospitalized as a result of your actions. It suggests that she knew she had done something wrong. So I think the jury is going to hold her accountable for something, but we'll see. We have diversionary programs here in the state of Michigan like other states, and I'm surprised that didn't get entertained to begin with, but I do think that there's going to be some compromise with the jury, but I do not think she's walking away from this.
Yeah, I love so many points you made there, Jamie. Let's unpack the one about the diversionary programs, please. And so we have wonderful courties who watch all over the globe.
Yep.
If you ever hear that term, there are different kinds of those programs in different court systems, and essentially it's another way of resolving it, especially if you think there's a way that somebody can be rehabilitated, so to speak, to prevent them from getting a criminal record, to have them go through classes. I mean, there are all sorts of different, oftentimes a first-time DUI is a good example where if you have nothing on your record, okay, let's send you to classes, make sure you're not drinking, put you on a little probationary period. If you do everything, we'll expunge your record, get rid of the charge, something like that. Tell me, you said it's curious to you why this didn't go through something like that. What might the reasons be, Jamie? Could it be the grading of the charges, too high to go through one? Could it be lack of victim consent, other family members saying, no, don't give her a program like that?
It could have been a variant of all of those. Typically, when there's a death involved, those charges would have to have been reduced to some degree. But because of her age, up until the age of 24 in the state of Michigan, she could have participated in what we call the Holmes Youthful Training Act, which is just a fancy word for diversionary program. And it could involve just probation only, or up to 3 years in a juvenile prison, so to speak. It's a prison, but everybody there is under the same program. And that typically is what we see at least put on the table with somebody of this age that, exercises this sort of judgment. So I'm very surprised that this wasn't negotiated out to some degree. But again, this is a conservative community, and there's a dead guy. I wasn't in the room with them, obviously, but I am surprised that there wasn't some attempt to provide her an option to keep her adult life intact.
Yeah, appreciate that so much, Jamie. That's helpful information.